Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Young at Heart, session number 83. I'm Father James DeLucia with the Paulist Fathers. You find me in the corner of my room in a bit of a topsy-turvy statement because we're reading nonsense these days from the Book of Nonsense and continuing exploring the work of Lewis Carroll, perhaps the king of nonsense verse. I apologize I'm so late in uploading my video today. I had an extraordinary busy day, 2 masses, and we had a wake, a virtual wake, remembrances of Father Richard Colgan, a devoted Paulist father who died just a week ago as a result of the coronavirus. We miss him dearly, and he was just an extraordinary fellow, a kind priest, loving, welcoming. He made everyone feel at home, as so many of the testimonies on the virtual wake today made very, very evident. So I'd like to dedicate tonight to Father Richard Colgan. He had a great sense of humor, and so he would appreciate these nonsense verses. He's making his way up to the Lord. I'll begin with the crocodile. I'm just in awe of this animal. It's hard to begin. How doth the little crocodile improve his shining tail, and pour the waters of the Nile on every golden scale. How cheerfully he seems to grin, how neatly spread his claws, and welcome little fishes into his smiling jaws. Well, you must not judge by appearances. That's a good moral for us all. And here we have the gardener's song. The gardener. Many of you gardeners? Well, this one seems particularly bright. Not. But fun. The gardener's song. He thought he saw an elephant that practiced on a fife. He looked again and found it was a letter from his wife. At length I realize, he said, the bitterness of life. He thought he saw a buffalo upon the chimney piece. He looked again and found it was his sister's husband's niece. Unless you leave this house, he said, I'll send for the police. He thought he saw a rattlesnake that questioned him in Greek. He looked again and found it was the middle of the week. The one thing I regret, he said, is that it cannot speak. He thought he saw a banker's clerk descending from the bus. He looked again and saw it was a hippopotamus. If this should stay to dine, he said, there won't be much for us. He thought he saw a kangaroo that worked a coffee mill. He looked again and found it was a vegetable pill. Were I to swallow this, he said, I should be deathly ill. He thought he saw a coach and four that stood beside his bed. He looked again and found it was a bear without a head. Poor thing, he said, poor silly thing, it's wanting to be fed. He thought he saw an albatross that fluttered round the lamp. He looked again and found it was a penny postage stamp. You'd better be getting home, he said, this night is very damp. He thought he saw a garden door that opened with a key. He looked again and found it was a double rule of 3, and all its mystery, he said, is clear as day to me. He thought he saw an argument that proved he was the Pope. He looked again and found it was a bar of mottled soap. A fact so dread, he faintly said, extinguishes all hope. Well, thankfully you haven't mistaken a bar of soap for an argument about the Pope. Tomorrow we're going to read a very long piece called The Hunting of the Snark. So let me get you see that picture there. The Hunting of the Snark. So if you like, you might look it up and peruse and find some wisdom in this nonsense, so we can have a wonderful little commentary discussion when we're through. Thank you so much for joining me this evening. Stay healthy. God bless. Take care now. Good night.